So far this year has been shaping up at least a lot better than 2018, for me at least. I'm still filming inside my house. I don't know if you can tell that, but because of the polar vortex, it's too cold for me to shoot out where I would want to shoot because there's no actual heat in there, just a space heater. But the actual temperature right now is negative 23 degrees and it feels like negative 50. And that's in Fahrenheit, not Celsius. So for people who don't live in the United States, it's a lot colder than you're thinking. So yeah, I don't know. I was kind of thinking for this video, for it to kind of be more of an open-ended conversation in a way. So I guess kind of bouncing back to my last video to kind of recap what that was. I talked about like being, finding like your happiness every day and just like really make sure that you're like building on that instead of like dwelling on the negative things or just, finding things every day to look forward to or to, find worth living. Just kind of building on that. This polar vortex has kind of been awesome for that because I realized that my happiness in the last couple days has been rest. So that's been awesome. Because, sometimes we get so busy that we just have to go. And now they're like telling people to not leave their house and everything. So, hey, I've been resting and taking naps and, doing things for myself in the house. So that's been fun. Going forward from that, kind of taking this time to actually make a video and, I don't know, do some fun stuff. So yeah, I guess this will just be more of like an open conversation of what the start of the years look like so far. I don't know, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster, just a little bit emotion-wise, just some stuff going on, but overall it's been a really great year so far. Like I said, we're barely a month in, but so far it's been going well. And maybe that's just a mindset shift, or maybe it's different circumstances, but who knows? So I guess kind of what prompted me to like want to do this video was actually one of my friends who's in law school actually asked me to do kind of, be a part of one of her assignments that they're looking into people who have dealt with mental illness and like how that, kind of like pertains to court and like how different people, anyways, but I will be doing that video with her. I don't know, probably sometime soon. And then doing at least a portion of it, if not all of it, posting it to my channel too. So I'm super, super, super excited about that. So shout out to my homegirl. But yeah, so that's been really exciting to kind of look at the questions that she's going to be asking me and, I don't know, having these conversation starters and what other people think about mental illness and stuff. So that's kind of been interesting. So I'm excited to do that. But yeah, me personally right now, I'm feeling pretty great. I've actually been in a lot of talks with my doctors and stuff too. Like in a good way. Finally, feeling super normal, which is incredible to, man, it's great to feel normal. But I think this was a few weeks ago, or maybe a couple weeks ago, I had an appointment with my psychiatrist and with my therapist in the same day, and I like to plan it out that way so that I don't have to go back and forth so much. But I filled out, one of those forms, and I can't remember what it's called. I think it's the PHQ-9. I think that's what it's called. Basically graph your depression and anxiety levels. One side is depression, the other anxiety. So if you've had any sort of testing like that done, you know what I'm talking about. And so you rate all these different questions that they have, and it's like from 0 to 3. In the higher that you score, the more severe of like an episode or like depressed or anxious that you're feeling is kind of how they rate it. And so typically, like when you're feeling like really depressed or really anxious, you're circling a lot of 3s and 2s. And when you're on a healthier level, there's some 0s, 1s, and sometimes 2s, but they like it in the 0, 1s. Nobody's ever just a straight up 0. I don't care how healthy you are or how healthy you think you are, or how much mental illness you don't think you have. Nobody is ever a 0. You're either lying or you're not human. So that test has always been really interesting to take because, I take one every single time that I go in for like seeing my therapist or any sort of doctor that I see now. It's just kind of a routine thing, just so they can document kind of my mood and kind of how I'm feeling. So because that's a big part of my physical health is my mental health. So it's not just something that's made up, obviously. So long story short, I guess, staying a long story. So I filled this out and I've been feeling really good. I've been, I don't know if I mentioned this in my last video, but I've been on an extra med. I haven't been taking off in my old meds, but just to kind of test it out and see how things are going and see if I feel any better. And this was my follow-up appointment for that, testing out for about 6 weeks. And it's been amazing. It's been amazing. I feel like hope. And in the sense of me, myself, but then also, it's not a mistake that I was named that because, just having the hope that like feeling normal and, you don't realize how great normal feels until you've not felt normal for so long. So I'm sitting in the waiting room and I'm filling this thing out and, doing some 0s. That's what always feels good. Doing some 1s, and I maybe had 1, 2 thrown in there. And, at the bottom, I can't remember if it's the depression or the anxiety screening side, but it asks how difficult, like dealing with life and doing like daily things, all of like the symptoms have made your life. And so they have extremely difficult or something like that, very difficult, somewhat difficult, and then not difficult at all. And, when I was really, really, really sick, obviously you're going to hit, extremely difficult and, and you try to feel as good about it as you can, try to be realistic with yourself and your doctor and, so even when I was feeling pretty good, even monitoring it all the time, taking those pretty regularly, I would always do somewhat difficult. I'd always check that box off. And, it was always kind of like, okay, like feel pretty good, but, there's this. And there's always going to be, different aspects of things, but there was always like kind of this, lingering like thoughts or like brokenness or I don't know. We feel emotions because we're human, but if you have been depressed or if you've had anxiety or you've dealt with any sort of mental illness, you understand what I'm talking about. It's more than just emotion that you're feeling that feels like it's holding you back. So it was kind of that idea. So I would always check somewhat difficult to, go through life. And a lot of times people would have no idea. And I probably wouldn't even realize it until I'm sitting there self-evaluating how I'm actually feeling and how things are difficult or not difficult. But for the first time since I ever started taking those like assessments, for the first time ever, I was able to check off the not difficult at all box. And I was soaring. Like, it was just, like, I still think about it and I get super excited because I know for me that was a genuine like test result for myself. Like, it was really freeing. It was like, nope, I'm good. Like, yes, I still have emotions. Yes, I'm still going through stuff. But no, like, I'm able to just head on. Like, let's do this. I am me. Let's go. Like, it's just this freeing feeling of like, hey, that's not difficult at all. Like, found different ways of coping or feeling normal, overwhelmingly normal. That's awesome. So I think, I was sitting in the doctor's office, waiting room, waiting for them to call my name. And, I'm like tearing up over checking this box. And I text my best friend who I was seeing later on that day, and I text my mom, and I text my husband, and, just so excited, using all the emojis that I can, and, and just literally overjoyed by being able to say, no, not difficult. And I don't know, it's just a really cool feeling to, even though it's this piece of paper that, you could even assess yourself every day, but it is, I think, just the physical thing of actually saying and taking the time to say, no, like, I'm good. I'm still working on stuff. I'm not going to just quit therapy and quit taking my meds or anything like that. No, it's a combination of a lot of things, of taking time for myself, of taking, time to really reflect in myself and take time with God, and just a lot of combination of things of taking time for myself in general is what it is, and putting myself as a priority, because that's something that I've never really been good at. So that's kind of been a lot of the source of that too. So, I don't know, that's just kind of in my head, what I've been thinking the last few weeks, I guess, and it's been pretty good. Like, I mean, there's, like I said, it's never always perfect. I mean, if I felt just great all the time, that would be also a red flag, for my doctors to be like, whoa, slow down, from swinging from one end to the next, and so it's really comforting to know that, like, even in this past year, it's not even been a year since, I was first in the hospital for a lot of this. It's not even been a year, and I already feel like I've grown and, like, stretched myself so much stronger. And, that's been a really cool, like, journey for me to see. And I was even watching some of my old stuff and looking at some of my older posts, and, just kind of seeing just the shift of just being in this really, really dark place. And then now to where I feel like me, where, people are able to talk to me and recognize that, hey, that's hope. Like, even I was talking to my husband, and, he was like, I'm really starting to, like, really see the woman that I fell in love with again. And that was just like, whoa, I'm starting to tear up thinking about it. But it's really cool to just, wow, to just feel like yourself again. Because that's been a huge thing that I've been really hurtling over. Just not feeling normal, not feeling like myself. And so it's just, I don't know, I'm really excited, to keep this going and to, I don't know, keep doing things better and keep feeling great. So, I guess kind of opening up this conversation, like I said, that I wanted to, just like wanting to know, like, kind of what your signs are for how you know that you're feeling good, or how you know you're feeling bad. Like, what's some of your triggers, for, like, going into a depressive state, or like, even if you're in a really good mood, if you're going into, like, somewhat of like a manic state, or if you're, trying to understand what the middle looks like. And even that too, I've been trying to learn the difference between that, of whether it's depression, or if I'm sad, or if it's manic, or if I'm just having a good day. And and letting myself have those good days, and not be dwelling on the negative side of things of like, oh, this is too good. I'm not allowed to feel this great, you know. But really just taking in that time to really just appreciate it every day. So yeah, so I kind of just want to hear, I don't know, kind of what you guys think, and if any of this was eye-opening to you, or if you have had any revelations or experiences, that would be helpful. So thanks.